Peace be upon you, everyone. Today, let's chat about something really important: never giving up. Just like the Quran teaches us. When life gets tough, the Quran helps us remember that hard times aren't a sign that God has left us. They're actually a chance to trust God's plan even more. Our lives are like a special blueprint that God made. In the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 30, God talks about how He created us and how each of us has a unique role to play. Surah Yunus, verse 14, tells us that every challenge is part of a bigger picture. And in Surah An-Naml, verse 62, we learn that God hears us when we're struggling and He's there to help us through it. Being patient when things are hard is a big lesson in the Quran. Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 286, says that God never gives us more than we can handle, which is really comforting when we feel overwhelmed. Other verses, like in Surah Al-Araf and Surah Yunus, remind us that God is always there for us. Even when things are really tough, we know that God will guide us and help us feel better eventually. The Quran also tells stories about how hard it can be to stick to what you believe in. In Surah Al-Araf, verses 69 and 129, we see how the prophets never gave up, even when things were really difficult. Surah Al-Imran, verse 178, tells us not to get discouraged by problems in this world. And Surah An-Nisa, verse 40, reminds us that God sees our efforts and rewards us for them. These verses show us that challenges are actually tests to make us stronger, and we should keep going even when it's tough. The Quran also talks about the good things that happen to those who never give up. Surah Fatir, verse 39, and Surah Sa'd, verse 26, tell us that God uses challenges to help us grow. Surah As-Zukhruf, verse 60, and Surah Al-Hadid, verse 7, promise us that if we're patient, we'll be rewarded. These verses encourage us to always do what's right, because loving and trusting God is more important than anything else in the world. There are also longer stories in the Quran about never giving up. Surah Al-Furqan, verses 63 to 76, describes the kind and patient people who are close to God, showing us how to stay calm and strong inside. Surah At-Tawbah and Surah Al-Anfal teach us to never give up, to think about our actions and to always trust God's plan. The Quran's message is simple. Every challenge is a chance to grow closer to God and trust that He's always with us. From the story of creation in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 30, to the important lessons in Surah An-Nisa, the Quran shows us the power of never giving up. I hope these verses inspire you to stay strong, face challenges with bravery, and never ever quit. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Peace be upon you.